What's up and welcome back. I'm Ian Harper with the UTR Draft Podcast. A lot of y'all know me as Under the Radar Scouting on Instagram. Here with the second episode of the podcast, first non-player interview episode. We've got my guy, Jaden Butcher, who runs 24.7 Scouting on Instagram. How you doing, dog?
Yo, what's up? How you doing, Ian?
I'm good, man. So we're going to run a little 49ers mock today. He's a Niners fan. I'm an Eagles fan. So obviously there's been some beef between us past few years. But
hey, man.
hey, we got the ring, so I ain't complaining. So
all right.
Yeah, but we got a little mock battle today going. So I don't want to say battle, but it's kind of a comparison, just get two different perspectives. So he ran a mock on, I think, Pro Football Network or some site. I did it on the same site. So it's kind of just two different perspectives, really just going to have our picks and kind of also have a few options that either were on the board or went right before the guys that we picked, just to kind of see and just talk about, who was there, who we could have picked, and the reasoning behind who we picked. So if you're looking at the Niners picks, the first one in the first round is pick number 11. They got the 43rd pick overall. That's the second round pick. 2 third-rounders, number 75 and number 99. 3 fourth-rounders, number 112, 138, and 139. A 6th-rounder at 189. And then 3 7th-rounders at 228, 232, and 255. So a lot of picks for the Niners this year. Obviously, a lot of injuries for them this year. I know you probably went through a tough season after what you've been seeing these past few years.
I prefer for us to be picking closer to pick 32
to where we're at,
11, pick 11, but rough season. Whole team got hurt. Man, like you can really whole starting lineup of injuries, whole Pro Bowl roster of injuries, really. So it's just but yeah, I'm actually excited to be picking early since the first time since Lance. And,
probably Lance, yeah. I mean, you've got the foundation for the roster, and with all the injuries, if you can get some good picks, is obviously we're doing the mock draft, so we obviously like all these picks. This is, I don't want to say a best case scenario, but this is obviously a good case scenario. So
okay, but
so we'll get into it. Obviously, 11th overall pick. I had them taking Kelvin Banks, offensive lineman, offensive tackle from Texas.
Okay.
Trent Williams, don't know how much longer he's going to play. Other side of the line's just been kind of murky. I think personally, when I was going through it, that's a guy I could see getting taken before that. Obviously, just how much teams value offensive line, how much they need it. And that's a guy where he's not he's not a Joe Alt. He's not one of those top of the line, top tier offensive tackles. But if you look at his tape, you look at everything there has to do with him, he's a guy that you're going to plug in. He's going to play immediately. He's going to be a good starter for them. He's going to be somebody that, I don't want to say go into this kind of next phase, but when you have Trent Williams going to retire in a few years and just a lot of inconsistencies surrounding that offensive line with McCaffrey coming back from injury, he's a guy that you could add and immediately be kind of an offensive game changer for you. And then really looking at some of the guys I didn't take in that spot, more of a kind of a dream pick that I just wanted to include if he ended up being there was Will Johnson.
Hey, man, I'm not going to lie. He got to 10 in my mock. Yeah, if you would have fell one more pick, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it's all the mock draft simulators I had one where it was Travis Hunter went into 12, and I was just that's happening, I guess. But I mean, that's the guy where if the board falls a certain way, that's the best corner in the draft falling to a team that needs corner. Yeah, I mean,
he hits there, pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't know
who's on the board. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't know what you've seen, but from the stuff I've seen, I don't think Charvarius Ward's going to be coming back. It seems like he wants to.
No, he's had a lot of personal issues that I think he's gone basically. But we have other DBs, if you have a chance to add Will Johnson, you add Will Johnson, because my opinion, Lenore's better in the slot. Bernardo Green can be a dog outside. I don't trust Yadam. So
oh God, no.
I don't trust Isaac Yadam. He's a little too inconsistent. But if Will Johnson makes it to 11, you take Will Johnson out of instantly. But
the other two guys I kind of had were two guys obviously that have been kind of gaining a lot of steam recently. Josh Simmons, offensive lineman from Ohio State. That's just if you're really dead set on going offensive line, he's one of the top options in the class.
If his injury, if his medicals at the combine come back fine, then I would say consider him. If not, no.
Yeah,
it's that's too early to look at that.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of just having there because Campbell's not going to be there. there's no really like that
I
good
hope so, but no.
like early I like that like kind of early to mid first round range offensive tackle other than Banks. So that was really just kind of a if Banks isn't there, if you really want it, like if they're just so dead set on picking offensive line, he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy who, with the way some of these analysts are talking, might not even be there, Jalen Walker from Georgia. With Greenlaw leaving, a few guys leaving, Warner obviously getting up there in age, even though he's still obviously a fantastic player. The depth isn't really there. One of the best, if not the best, linebackers in the class. So if you can take him there.
I personally see Walker as more of an edge, but just like it's personal preference at that point. He has like he has like a will linebacker like size profile. Like in terms of like his strengths, I think he translates better as an edge in the league. But
he's also a guy that like with the modern defense, obviously
he can play both.
Everyone's trying to do like the whole like the Fangio defense with dropping back edge rushers into the secondary and just like having them cover. That's a guy. Obviously, you put him alongside Bosa. That's something you could do. But I'm interested to hear your picks for this because obviously I'm not a Niners fan. It's kind of a weird spot where you don't have a top pick, you don't have a mid round pick, or you don't have a mid other round pick, you don't have a late pick. You're kind of just in that like weird spot.
Yeah, so you're right. Very weird spot, but it's like okay. So first I'm gonna say some guys who I didn't take, but I still Kelvin Banks, still like him. Good tackle, but if he falls, I would rather have us just kind of either fix that issue later in the draft or primarily I would want a vet to kind of just plug it up for like an extra year or so. But okay, so but then outside of that, again, Will Johnson's a real oh man, if he gets to 11, you pull that trigger, you don't.
Oh yeah.
He gets to 11. I've heard hype behind Azariah Thomas, Florida State, but I don't know if I'm comfortable taking him at 11.
So that's probably a bit too rich for me, I'd say, but that's still one where you're in that spot, that weird spot where you can kind of take some chances, especially in a weaker class where you can take some chances on some guys. I think that'd be a weird pick, but not a bad one.
Yeah. Okay, but one guy who I heavily considered, Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, the hybrid edge, kind of like D tackles size profile, but he's a really good athlete for being as big as he is. So I heavily considered him, but the guy I ended up taking was Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. Because for me watching that Super Bowl, I seen to win games you need to be good in the trenches, and to win games you need to be able to look. Prime Niner football, 2019, we used to rush 4 players and just get to the quarterback. We haven't been able to do that with just Bosa, especially because Hargrave is most likely a cut candidate at this point, cap casualty. We lost Armstead, we lost Buckner, Kinlaw just didn't work out. We're like the interior is losing kind of hope at this point. That's what it is. It loses hope.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But Walter Nolan just comes in day one. Well, first of all, he's a better athlete than any other even pass rusher in this class. You can argue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, in terms of his pure athleticism, he's about 6'3". I think he weighed in at 295 ish at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, 62.95, and he looks like he's 65. Yeah, he looks like, because I went to the Senior Bowl, I saw him up close and personal. I mean, he moves like that.
He moves like he's about he moves like your regular 6'2", 6'3", 260, 255 pound edge rusher but the things that he's strong as hell at the same time. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's a crazy profile. Especially just kind of seeing him in those practices, just the way that he moves.
Yeah,
you're at. I mean, best case scenario, you're getting a guy that defense or offensive minds and offensive lines have to deal with both him and Bosa. That's if it comes to the point where a lot of people are saying he can be a guy not Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence, all that kind of pedigree, but a guy that you have to double team. you have to double team him and you have to double team Bosa. You're really handicapping yourself. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have to pick one to leave on an island, which is just you know how that goes.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's like we'll see. I trust our D line coach Coach Rick. He has continuously proven that he develops D line and he develops them fast and he develops them right. So at this point, it's like I trust him to just get him right technically. But at this point, you give Salah that type of pass rushing toolbox where he has potentially 2 elite pass rushers on who you can just plug anywhere on the D line at that point. And it's like he can just make magic with whoever because because then as long as you just plug that other edge need, then you'll be fine. But for right now, just grab the guy who can just wreak havoc in the middle and then let Bosa do the rest, and then Freddie can clean everything up. So that would kickstart this defense into getting back into prime Niner defense form that we're
desperately needing again. Yeah.
Last year was not pretty.
Last year was
not pretty. I can promise you that.
Yeah, so I was kind of on a similar path with you, just going a bit one round later. So for my second round pick, I went with JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. I think that's good value with that spot. It's more of a fit. You're not reaching on him. You're not taking him as a steal. He's a guy that can do a lot of things for you. And then just looking past that. So I took Banks with their first round pick. Yeah. In a world where they don't do that, or even if a world that they do that and really want offensive line, I think Wyatt Milam from West Virginia and Gray Zabel from North Dakota State, those are 2 interior guys that they need to address that. It's both of them are kind of reaches there. I don't think they're top 43 talents in a normal draft class, but obviously in this draft class they are. So I think that's where if you want to go that route, you can go that route. And for me, just personally looking at the roster, assuming Will Johnson doesn't fall, assuming that everything goes how we think it's going to go and how everyone looks like it's going to go with the draft, I think O-line and edge is a good combo for the first and second round picks for them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I actually do like the pick of an edge. That's not where I lean because I felt it seemed like a little rich to double dip on D-line. Mm-hmm. So, but I did stick on the defensive side of football. Okay. I took a defensive back, Jahdae Barron from Texas in the second round. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's I'm going to be there because I do really like him as a player. He's really instinctive. He's physical as hell. His ball skills are amazing, and but the issue is that teams may do the same thing they kind of did with last year and kind of say he's not the fastest, we'll let him slip. And as you see, that was kind of a mistake because last year's a dog.
But if there's one thing we know about NFL front offices with the draft, they're going to do some things that just make no sense.
Yeah, they care. Okay, look, speed is important, but you can't care too much about speed to where you overlook the fact that a person can just be a really good football player and you need to get him on your team.
Yeah.
Because he can play anywhere in the secondary from safety. I honestly believe he can survive at free, but that's not. I wouldn't personally play him at free safety. I think he's more of a box-ish safety. Mm-hmm. Nickel defender. He played mainly the corner for Texas this year, and he won a Thorpe Award. I mean, you can't really say much about it. He won a Thorpe Award.
That says enough.
He was locked down. No one could really complete passes against him in general. So, the speed didn't matter there. He played in the SEC. It's not like he's playing slow receivers. The speed didn't matter there. He locked down.
Yeah, I think also really kind of what you're talking about with, trying to find a spot for him. It's not that he's a tweener and he's I don't know if he can play here. I don't know if he can play here. You're going to get a Swiss Army knife out of the guy. He can play. He can play outside corner. He can play in the slot. He can play at a few different safety positions. Okay, sorry about that. We should be back. Just a little bit of technical difficulties. Obviously, still second episode. Still trying to figure out all the streaming software and stuff using StreamYard and everything. Just trying to make sure, everything's good. Obviously, we're working with different coasts here, different time zones and everything. Yeah. So it's a bit of a connection issue at times, but we should be good now.
So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, moving on to the third round. a guy I really don't think is gonna be there, but I had to take just obviously we're doing predictive stuff, we're doing dream stuff, all that kind of stuff mixed in.
No,
Darius Alexander, defensive lineman from Toledo. It's
make a dream.
yeah, it sounds silly to those that don't really follow along with drafts. Obviously, thinking the guy from Toledo just had Quinton Mitchell, obviously in the first round, but it's not a school you really think of as producing a lot of high end talent. But if you turn on the tape, if you just look at what he can do, both in like bunch alignments, and then when you just like say you got an offensive guard in front of you, just beat him. It's like the get off he has, the explosiveness, the burst is something that once again, I feel like we're going to say it a lot because it's true. It's a weaker class. It's a weaker draft class. He's a guy that could shoot up a lot of teams' boards, but I mean, you never know. There's always guys that fall for no reason at all, like DeJean last year and stuff like that. Nakobe Dean a few years ago.
Kormoa.
Yeah, JOK fell. Obviously, there's some of the injury stuff with those guys, but it was never anything serious enough to be like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. And that's another guy where it's, we're still early enough in the draft season where I'm fine making that pick and then just saying, I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, then you'd be over the moon. And then looking at some other guys in that spot, sticking with Texas DBs, Andrew Makuba. If you wanted to go with a true safety, he's a guy that you're going to get in that spot. Once again, might not be there. But
I don't personally think he's like our like style of safety.
Okay.
Look at the ones we currently have on the roster. It's like Malik Mustafa, Jair Brown. Huff is probably gone, but he's there.
Mm-hmm.
George Odom's there. Yeah, we like more like downhill, like like hard hitting guys. Yeah, we don't really keep the usual like true like free ball hawking safeties on our team. So yeah.
Obviously, once again, not an Niner fan. I'm really just working with kind of looking at positional need, look at who's there.
That makes sense.
Then once again, I feel like they need offensive line. I'm just gonna. I think I might have like an offensive lineman as one of my like other picks for pretty much every single one of these, just because it's always something that if they don't go early, they're gonna go mid round. They're gonna go late round. Yeah. So picking up a guy like Tate Ratledge, who could be there, obviously an interior guy that you could work with, the Georgia product, and another one that kind of the theme of my draft is really like building on what they would do or what they could do if they don't make the pick right before that, which is a guy like Josiah Stewart. Obviously, speed edge rusher, a guy that could really get after it on the outside. You don't go JT Tuimoloau. Stewart's the guy you could probably get.
Fun developmental piece there for sure.
Yeah,
fun developmental piece.
Yeah, and it's a lot of those things where you're in a spot right now for the Niners where you're not entering a new window, but the original window and the original team you had is not really there anymore, just because of the pieces like getting up in age, the pieces getting hurt, pieces leaving. So that's the guy where you're taking a chance on what he's already shown you and what he could show you in the future, but is not a project pick to the point where like he's totally unplayable from the jump. You could play him from the start, and you're just hoping
he's not Robert Beal Jr.
Better. Yeah.
He's not. He's not. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because we're in a very heavy like retooling period right now. We have pieces. We have the foundation to be like a Super Bowl contending team.
Mm-hmm.
We need to add the right pieces this offseason, and allocate our assets in the right places to get back there and get back to beating teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Bills and the top teams in the league. Yeah. So my pick, we already mentioned them. I did lean heavier on the O line this round because we didn't need them. So I took Tate Ratledge, guard, Georgia. Okay. He's a very safe player. And I feel like we didn't need to we're not in a position where we need to bank on upside right now. Mm-hmm. We just need to put a guy who can pass block in front of Brock Purdy, a good enough run blocker, may not have the best athletic traits, but straight up he's a good player. So just give Purdy protection, let him do his thing, and then we'll figure the rest out later. So yeah, but it was I I did kind of consider edge a little bit, I did already take a lot of D linemen or like defensive players, but I, I thought about it because but yeah, and then I also thought about Mason Taylor.
Yeah,
Because it's like team could use a backup tight end. The Kittle is getting up there in age. It's like a great player, great athlete, fluid mover.
another
Really
one that's
fluid
like
mover.
it's a safe
But
pick. I think I did a write up for him for Last Word on Sports.com. Once I do my writing over there, so if anyone wants to check out my scouting reports, some more draft content, check me out there. Should be linked to my bio on both Instagram and YouTube. But that's a guy where if he enters the league as a backup tight end, perfect. He can work into a starting role in a few years. He's not one of those high upside guys that you're like, yeah, this could be the next like Brock Bowers or the next like top of the league tight end. But he's a guy that he's always there. Like he's always there when you need him. He's always he always steps up in the moments that you really need him. And that's the guy that, like, especially looking for the Niners, having him behind Kittle, having him work with Kittle to become Kittle's successor, I think that's a really good pick there.
Yeah, cause like it's not like he's some insane athlete. He's not built super big. He's about what, like 6'4", 6'5", 250-ish pounds. Like he's your like regular tight end size. It's like you're like he's your like normal like big slot, but like he's a really fluid mover for his size, and he has really reliable hands. So it's like he's a really good kind of like third down option, and just like consistent. He knows what he's doing. So yeah.
But yeah, man, that's once again, it's a guy he's going to be there when you need him to be, and especially at that value where you're not like spending a premium pick on a tight end, but you're still getting somebody there that obviously we know it wasn't the guy you selected, but I just think that's a spot where the tight ends position is going to get a lot of interesting talk with the Niners, just because Kittle's getting up there in age and he's still effective, but he's had some of the lingering issues. We got the Kittle Grizzly on here, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see where or if or how really they address that position.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to their second pick of the third round, last pick of the third round. I went with a guy that I really like. I went with one of my guys, might be a reach on most mock draft pages, but Cody Lindenberg, linebacker from Minnesota. If you want a guy that can go sideline to sideline, if you want a guy that's going to be the leader of your defense, please look at his tape. I mean, you'll be blown away. A lot of people don't have him as like a selection until late fourth to like early sixth round, that kind of range. But a lot of people that have watched tape that both I've talked to and just I've seen talk about him, that's the guy you want in your linebacker room. That's a guy where if you don't want to spend a top pick on linebacker because nobody wants to pay them, nobody wants to give them a ton of money. That's kind of become one of the newer standards in the league. That's a guy I really like in that spot. That's a guy I really think that could go into the Niners system, be a really kind of dirt dog linebacker, and be one of those guys that's just going to be just so tough over the middle and be hard to stop and be a good run defender and coverage defender. And then looking past that, I think cornerback's a spot they could go after, like a guy like Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. I think offensive lineman, still once again, Anthony Belton from NC State. Bigger guy, another safer pick that he just takes up so much space. He's going to be a good offensive lineman regardless. And then if you really wanted to get wild and wacky, maybe a Torrey Horton. Like if you really wanted to go that route, if you think Debo is gone, you think Ayuk doesn't really have it, or if you think you want to supplement him with somebody else, and as well as Pearsall, somebody you could go for. Just throwing out a name out there. That was more just going to touch on the position rather than the actual player. But it's a weird spot for them right there. But I do think that a guy like Cody Lindenberg makes your defense a lot better and kind of gives you that stability at linebacker that you could be losing with the departure of free agents.
Yeah. Going back to your take on Torrey Horton almost going. I did look at receiver, but because Jack Best was there on my board.
Ooh, yeah, he is not going to be in LA.
After his Senior Bowl, he's not making it, I just didn't do it. Cause I was like, all right, man, like we're at 99. It's a little too unrealistic.
Oh yeah, definitely. For sure.
It's a little too unrealistic, Like I just looked at him and I was like, man, Jack Best on this team would be something. And I was like, you know what? I feel like we're fine at receiver, even if Debo's gone. I I believe that Ayuk will bounce back from injury. I believe in Pearsall. Jennings had a career year last year. The Cowings are hurt. I really liked Cowing last year coming out. He showed a bit of promise as a return man, but like he didn't get too many opportunities as an actual receiver. So like we'll see, what he can do. But yeah, okay. Quick question: what other linebackers were on the board for you?
I think we were past Chris Paul territory at that point. I don't remember. That's kind of a weird spot for linebackers. I don't think
was that the Schlesinger territory because like I would have probably.
He was gone. He was gone second round.
Long
I think
gone.
He was gone.
Okay. Yeah.
He was gone well before that. I'll say.
Okay, for sure. Okay, because I leaned back into the D line because I was like, okay,
hey, why not?
Because I really like the idea of Jordan Birch on his team.
Okay.
Yeah, because like we're known from grabbing like he's another one of these like big, lengthy Oregon dudes who kind of just like tweeners in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The same way Buckner was, the same way Armstead was. Like they're not like huge in like weight profile compared to their size, but like they know how to get after the quarterback. And like I'm not sure if he's an edge or if he's a like a more of like a 3 tech 4 eye or whatever. But he's a good player. So
yeah. I mean,
he's a good player.
Kind of the combo with him bouncing between Nolan. You're getting this smaller, more pass rushing guy, and the bigger guy that can kind of play anywhere in Birch. So I think
he can set the edge so that teams can't just heavily, just be like, okay, Bosa and Nolan's on the other side. Yeah. We should probably go the other way. But when you have a guy who's 6'6" and almost 300 pounds on the other edge, it's like you can't just run that way. And then you still have Fred Warner. I believe Greenlaw will be a Niner next year. If not, I'm really excited for D Winter's full year as a starter because I really love the flashes he's shown. Mm-hmm. He's an exceptional athlete. But yeah, it's really just it's just like he's big, but he can set an edge and like opposite of Nick Bosa and now hopefully Walter Nolan. I'm hoping that helps. But yes, I did look into like Dorian Strong. I did look into a different corner too. Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of looked at the Mello Dotson, but I was like, it's a little too early for Dotson.
Yeah, that's too early.
Yeah, but it was like I do like the players there, but I just lean Birch because bigger profile.
If we move on to the fourth round, another guy that I don't know if he's going to be there, and one that I think is more of like a player over scheme kind of thing, similar to what I did with Makuba, was Jacob Parrish, cornerback from Kansas State. You mentioned that you really like Lenore in the slot, which obviously he's more built for than outside corner. But then you look at a guy like Parrish for me, who I've been on for a while as a guy that isn't getting nearly enough draft love. He's small. He's really small. He's probably going to be a slot corner, but the physicality that he's able to play with is really impressive and is something that I think I don't want to say he could survive on the outside because there's a lot of receivers that are just going to take advantage of his size and just he's going to be no match for. But he's a guy that I think you can put out there in like smaller bunches.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at a team and you're trying to get more corners, you can't not love the smaller, scrappy guy. Like I'm always going to give that guy a chance, especially one like him who both plays kind of above his listed weight, but also just he knows what his limitations are, and he's not going to get like so over aggressive that he's just going to put himself way out there and he's just going to ruin himself in plays. And then obviously if you don't want to go that defensive lines route, they could go Josh Farmer from FSU. Want to go corner once again, Quincy Riley. That's another option you could go if you want that big ball hawking outside corner. If you wanted to go like a receiver guy that might not be there, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. There's a lot of options there. Yeah,
Yeah,
really going kind of a mix there with me going to smaller pairs and like the three big guys in Farmer, Riley, and Higgins. But another spot where it all depends on what happens before that. But there's a lot of like kind of those core positions that they could really get depth and kind of serviceable starters there. Just looking at how this class is with the middle rounds.
yeah. Well, see, you said you love smaller, scrappy corners. If you look at my page, I am known for loving smaller, scrappy corners. Travius Hodges Tomlinson, you know, and Keitrell Clark. Big fan of guys
Ooh,
like DJ.
Keitrell Clark, man,
Keitrell
wow.
Clark, real dog, real dog. Big fans of guys like DJ Reed, you know, like just like smaller guys who Garrett Williams, Syracuse corner from a couple years ago. He's a dog.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's been a dog in Arizona, you know. But yeah, you know, like so, like I will always like a guy who's smaller but knows what he's doing over just banking on a guy just because he's like 6'1" and can run fast or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I went with Kobe Bryant, Kansas. fits that mold to a T.
Yeah, pretty much like saying pick different players
Yeah,
here. So.
yeah. He's about 5'11", ish. He weighs about like 170. I doubt he even weighs that, honestly.
I think it was like 175-ish from Shrine Bowl. I could be wrong, but that's what I thought.
I thought it was like 171.
Okay.
It was in that range though. But yeah, he's frail basically. But bro, he's a he's a dog. He's a really good athlete. Really smooth mover. His hips are really nice, but mainly it's just his physicality is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looked at the tape. He's jamming dudes. He doesn't care. He's about 30 pounds smaller than most dudes. He's jamming dudes. He's hit sticking running backs. He's just his ball skills are phenomenal as well. He can really play the ball in the air, and that's what our team has been kind of missing. You know, like just like watching dudes like Ambry Thomas take the field. It's like that man. No, but no, it's just no. I'm good. But yeah, but Kobe, he's a really talented player. He may be a little frail, but I believe he can survive on the outside in the league just because, like, it's not like Emmanuel Forbes where it's like, okay, like, yes, he's small and yes, he has great ball skills, but it's like you have to kind of stick him in zone because he can't play physically. It's the complete opposite. The Kobe Bryant wants to play man to man. He will talk your head off and he will make plays. So the fact that a player like that is available in round 4 when Forbes was going by like pick 16 is kind of crazy to me, but you know, he's a really like he's a great player. So yeah, just take him off the board now and just let him. He's gonna talk brand new.
Just let him talk. If anything, he's gonna talk people and get them pissed off, make them make a mistake. So why not take it? I
love it. Hey man, just get these guys in the building and let them just see, because maybe he can just put on a few pounds. Like I don't even think he needs to, honestly, because he hasn't had to do it yet. So yeah, he's a dog though.
Yeah, then kind of my second or third, fourth round picks. They went back to back here, so I'll just go back to back with who I took. Okay. I went offensive lineman Charles Grant from William & Mary, and then went receiver finally with Pat Bryant from Illinois. Looking at Grant, that's a guy, FCS guy, still somewhat of a project as most small school guys are, but it's a guy that loves small school projects.
Yeah.
This is a guy you want. Just straight up, this is a guy you want. He can bully people on the inside. He can work his way well on the outside. You can play him really anywhere on the line. He's had experience in a few different spots.
Yeah.
But that's like he's everything you want out of a early to mid round offensive lineman that isn't one of those like top guys. He's gonna be serviceable. He's just straight up. He's gonna be a serviceable lineman from the jump. He's got the potential to be a lot more than that. And I think another guy in that similar spot that you could go with is Luke Kandra from Cincinnati, another offensive lineman. More of a, I would say even a lesser known name than Charles Grant, even though he plays at a much bigger school.
Yeah, much bigger school.
Yeah, but not many people know about Kandra. He's kind of one of those mid-rounders that you look at and you just like, there's nothing super special here, but he's just a good football player. And then obviously going to my second, fourth rounder with Pat Bryant. That's Another one of those, you're in that kind of spot where if you're looking for a receiver, if you're looking for a few different positions, he doesn't do a lot well outside of just kind of going vertically and cutting to the outside, but you're not taking him to do like to
Much
be
else
that
at
kind of
all.
wide receiver. You're not taking him to be
Yeah.
a wide receiver one. You don't need him to be super fleshed out.
I'm
You
taking him to be like
stash
a wide
him,
receiver 5 at that point. So
yeah.
yeah.
You stash him in that receiving core and you just let him do that because he's very good at what he does. It's just when he's asked to do a lot more than that is when it kind of gets like a little bit fuzzy. If you just let him do that, I think that's a player you're gonna like having on your team. And if you can supplement the already good receiving core, if Pearsall can get more developed, if Ayuk can kind of return back to what we saw from him before the injury, there's a lot of stuff you can do there with him, and you just let him work on the outside. And if
Yep.
you're looking at a few other positions, guy like Jordan Hancock, corner from Ohio State. If you look at like an Antoine Powell-Ryland, edge rusher from Virginia Tech. If you look at one guy going back to tight end, Terrence Ferguson, Oregon tight end, a
He's
guy
really
I
nice.
didn't love in my I didn't love him in my film study, but he was one of those where the receiving ability is good. So I'll just I'd take him to be a role player there, and that's kind of how I'd play that round. But or those back to back picks, it once again just kind of depends on what you go before that. But when you already took offensive line, addressed the defensive line twice, went linebacker, went corner, going back to the offensive line with Grant, I think that's a good move to really just shore that up. And then you go Pat Bryant, who can be a solid playmaker for you.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. For mine, I went back-to-back small school offensive linemen. So the first pick I went Jackson Slater from Sac State.
Love him.
Yeah, dog. Hey man,
yeah, absolute dog.
And then for the second pick, I went Charles Grant from William and Mary because yeah you had to take him. But Slater, in my opinion, you grab him, you kick him straight inside to center, and then you let him work there for however long he takes to him develop. But Brendel isn't it. I honestly believe that he can come in day one and beat him out for a job. Jackson Slater is a really good football player.
Yeah, another one of those guys at the Senior Bowl that just was mauling people.
Yeah,
Absolutely mauling people. Yeah. Another small school project, but he's kind of like a few guys we talked about already is one of the more polished ones and one of the more plug and play ones.
Yeah, FCS All-American. He's not. Yeah, like he's not your usual kind of like small school like small school guard. He's like he's not like undersized. He's not like I come on. He played left tackle at Sac State. It's not like he's some like he can play 5 positions probably. He's played tackle. He's played guard. He's practiced at center. So it's like it's not like he's like he can move wherever you need him. He can play wherever you need him, and he's very reliable. And like Niners at this point, we just need reliability because last Super Bowl we lost because literally our guard went down for one play. Burford came in. Chris Jones blew up the play which would have been a wide open touchdown, and we lost the game. So it's like we need reliability there. We need guys who can just hold their own, and then, but yeah, he's reliable. And then Grant, you kind of already explained it. That's more so like your forte is small school guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he is versatile. He's a really good athlete. He is slightly undersized, but like he can.
He does enough well. He does enough well to survive, and that's that's kind of the biggest thing. Where if they're undersized, he like kind of talked with Parrish earlier. He knows he's undersized. He knows how to work around that, and it's like it's not that you just like work with it. It's being able to work around that and use. I don't want to say use it to his strength, but like manipulate it in a way that doesn't impact him a lot. And that's another reason why I took him there, because I think he's worth a day 2 selection. And if he falls to that spot, I think any team that would get him there should be really happy about it.
And plus for me, it's like pound for pound. I think he's really strong pound for pound. Like he's not like, cause like he was listed at what, like 293. He doesn't play like he's 293.
Yeah, not very heavy.
Yeah, he doesn't play like he's 293. He plays like he's closer to like 305, 310. So it's like like it's not like he's just undersized and weaker. He's undersized and he's still strong. I believe if he hits an NFL weight room, he can just put on a few pounds, get closer to like 300 pounds, and he'll be fine from there. Especially if he's playing like left guard next to Trent Williams, like he'll survive.
Oh yeah,
he'll survive next to Trent Williams. So basically.
Oh for sure. Yeah.
He
So
was
then,
on there.
yeah, talked about earlier. Obviously, they don't have a 5th round pick. Moving on to their 6th round pick. I went with Oluwafemi Oladejo. Obviously, harder to pronounce name, but a guy that defensive MVP at the Senior Bowl, was a very good player.
UCLA, right? Edge?
UCLA Edge.
Okay.
Very good player in his time there. Showed some flashes where people have talked about him as like a top 100 to top 125 guy. This is obviously well below that.
He's a former Mike linebacker, right?
I
believe
it's
he was a former linebacker, and then he just like bulked up. He got to like 60 and just kind of
he's one of those where it's like if you look at the tape, if you look at what he's done, what he can do, it's more of a I'm not fully bought in on the player as like this is a guy, this is an absolute dog, but he's good enough.
Top 100 pick basically, but he's good enough to like develop into a nice player over time. It's just like
he's a guy I'd take mid day 3, sometime on day 3, like even earlier on day 3, and I don't want to say stash him because stash him is the wrong word or like the wrong terminology for this, but more of just say like see what he can do and see what he can be, rather than like oh my god, we have like super high expectations for this guy. He's going to be the next so and so. He's going to do this and that for us, but he's a guy where kind of like one of the guys I actually didn't pick in this spot, which is Ja Joyner, another edge this time from Minnesota, where he's got some of the tools. You just got to put it together.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to go staking defensive line, guy like Aeneas Peebles, defensive tackle from Virginia Tech, more undersized but a great run stopper. Corner like a Noel Williams type, who I'm a lot less high on than some other people, but still has some desirable traits. But yeah, another spot where if you're kind of in that 6th, 7th round, you can't really knock him for taking any guy.
Yeah.
But there's some guys where they could be drafted higher if they just did this, and this better, or had a few things just tightened up. And I think Oladejo is one of them, and I think he'd be a solid selection in that position.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time you say edge, I just like, but I just like think back to Robert Beal Jr. and I think back to how bad. I just think back to Robert Beal Jr. and I was like, I'm all for taking developmental edge rushers, but it's like, bro, he was so bad.
Oh yeah,
he was so bad. He still hasn't carved out a role. But nah. I actually went to the offensive side of the ball and like actually went towards a skill position, but like surprisingly, it wasn't a receiver. Okay, so yearly this team takes a running back. It's a tradition. So I was just looking through who should this year's running back be. I've seen Jordan James. He's really explosive. I like him, but it's like I'm not fully bought in. Quez Hunter was nearly a pick, but I was like, I'm not sure if he's going to be there in round 6. I don't think.
Probably not. I'd say he goes 4 or 5. If I had to guess, I'd say 4 or 5.
He could maybe even sneak into like 3. Like I like really like Jarquez Hunter, but yeah. So I went Quint Allen.
Okay.
From Syracuse. Yeah, he's not your like typical running back. Okay, he weighed in at about 6. He came in at what, like 6'1". He weighed in at, I think about like 207.
Yeah, it was something like that. So
Cuse listed him at I think it was 195 like all year. So I was just hoping he didn't, the weigh in sub 200 at 6'1" as a running back. Like it would have been kind of weird.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like he would have had like a receiver build. But like the weird part is that he kind of plays like one.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he's a really nice pass catcher. He's really explosive. He knows how to make guys miss in space. He has bunnies, by the way. Like he can really get up. he hurdles dudes. Like he knows what he's doing. The issue there is that again, that lighter frame leads to kind of a lack of power. And on top of that, it's like he runs really high, but it's like in a scheme where Kyle Shanahan is just like known for just grabbing these gadget guys and figuring things out later. I really like the idea of taking a guy who honestly I believe he can be like a sub package slot guy in a weird way, like a screen guy, slot guy, playing the backfield like on like outside zone. Just like be a guy who can like manufacture touches for, because like he's a really nice athlete and he's really good in space, but he's not your usual running back. He's not built like a usual running back. Like again, he's built like a receiver, and he plays like one. It's just like he's a running back.
Yeah, so I mean
he's an athlete at that point. Like probably losing Debo, so why not just throw him?
You could replace him and just kind of be more that like backfield guy that they've seen obviously Debo use. Obviously, probably not to that level if you're talking about a potential 6th, 7th round pick. But
he probably won't be Debo, but like he's a lot cheaper than Debo, and like he won't have to be like incorporated as much as Debo towards hurting the team because you're putting him in the game playing every week.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so I'll bang out my 3 7th round picks real quick. I had a similar thought with you as kind of that receiving running back. Another one guy that very few people are probably going to know about, Lan Larison, running back from UC Davis.
Oh yeah, no.
He's a
lot of the game last year. He's a dog.
A lot of people won't know the name, but he can play. I'll just leave it at that. He can play. He's a guy that he's built better than a guy like LaQuint Allen. I haven't dived too deep into his tape yet, but I've talked to a few people that like him a lot, and he's one of those guys that another small school guy could be a good spot, could be a good steal for them.
He reminds me of Lobby from last year, or Lob.
Yeah. I think
his name.
It's a good comparison. Yeah, and I think he's got more of a receiving talent than he did, even though Lobby did have a 295 receiving yard game. But like he's getting like 2,000 all-purpose yards a year just out of rushing and receiving, just like being a maniac in both of those. Sticking small school, Carson Vincent, offensive lineman from Alabama State, or Alabama A&M, sorry. Very good offensive lineman, guy that he's a depth piece, but couldn't hurt to take another offensive lineman. Everyone needs those.
Yep.
And then last pick, bit of a weird one, Raywan Lane the third, from Navy. He's listed as a DB, but he's more of a special teams ace. And that's where, if it's the 7th round, I'm a sucker for special teams guys, whether it be like returners, gunners, whatever. He's very good gunner, very good at like working kick returns, very good at working all that kind of stuff. Not your particular kind of returning guy, but if you want to show up to the special teams, you're in the 7th round. You've got a lot of picks. Once again, these are no trade mocks, so this is without dealing any picks for players, dealing any players for picks, any of that kind of stuff. You're taking a guy that's going to immediately improve your special teams. He's probably the best pure gunner in the class, so it's just it's a dart throw.
It helps.
It's a dart throw late 7th round. So, I mean, it's one of those guys where you're just like, why not see what happens? So you got 228, 232, and 255. So, who did you have for those picks?
All right. So, at 228, I leaned Max Brosman, quarterback Minnesota. Yeah. 232, I took Carson Bruner, linebacker Washington. And then 255, I took Andres Borregales, the kicker from Miami.
Hey, why not?
Brosman was more like, okay, like we needed a backup quarterback. So like, we're losing Dobbs. I don't trust Brandon Allen with any inch of the ball in his hands. So no. I would just rather just take somebody and just like let them sit. Maybe just get like some pre-season reps. Maybe if we don't need Purdy to play in like a week 18 and they can just have a start under their belt, or something like that. Burrows is between him, Tyler Shaw, or Show, however you pronounce his name.
Shaw, he's probably gone before that.
Yeah, probably. And then there's one more quarterback. I forgot the dude's name. Hold on, let me check real quick. But I can't even check right now. But yeah, wait, actually.
Yeah, I think that's
But
Bronski.
yeah, but for the like again, like it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, so I just lean Burlesmer because he's pretty consistent,
Mm-hmm.
good size profile in my opinion. He's about what like 6'1.5" ish, 220 pounds. He's built like Purdy. He doesn't play too far off for like it's like a huge like move from like what Kyle would like to coach into like the system. So yeah, and then Bruner, I just really like how like I I love how much effort he plays with. He is a little bit undersized. He's about 6'1", 225. He's not the biggest linebacker. But, he was a leader when Washington had made that national title run, and then in my opinion, he could have just came out last year and been like a 5th round pick probably in my opinion, but like he just went back. Washington what? I think his dad actually played there, so that's probably why. He was so he was like a legacy player. So yeah, he went back. He finished out his career there, and then he plays fast. He plays with effort. He's a playmaker. Can punch the ball out, nice in coverage. Like he's more so like a dart throwing, hoping
Hope you
special
get something out,
players at this point. Yeah, special teams linebacker, you're hoping he could just develop, and then kicker, just Jake Moody is
not great, not great.
I'm not saying I don't believe in him because before his injury, he was like nearly perfect before his injury, and then he got hurt, and then after that, like it seemed like his confidence took a big hit, and he just couldn't make anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, just grab him to competition, just grab him a kicker. So board Collins probably just, in my opinion, the best one on the board. So just grabbed him. I'm hoping Moody wins the job because we did spend a 3rd-round pick on him, but
Yeah.
that pick was so bad. We drafted Cam Latu and Jake Moody in this.
That's best 3rd round of all time.
We drafted Cam Latu and Jake Moody in a span of like 10 picks. That is so insane.
Yeah.
Cam Latu's an Eagle right now, I think.
Oh, I don't know if he's still on there. He was at one point, but
y'all had him on like a futures contract, I think, or something like that.
We might have. Yeah, I have been paying attention to the futures contracts and everything.
And then Moody's yeah
struggling. He's struggling to be nice.
Yeah, like I'm not even gonna go too far in. So just like grab him some competition, grab him an extra player in the room. Hopefully he just gets his confidence back, and if not, we have an extra kicker now. So it is what it is. But
yeah, so that looks like it's gonna wrap it up for here. So yeah, let us know in the comments who had the better mock draft. Names, post editing should have all the names up here so you can see. Might post like a pinned comment just to say all the slots, here's all the players that went with, just kind of see who you guys think had the better mock draft. But obviously this has been fun, Jaden, so it's awesome having you on here. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll hop on for another pod before draft season, just see what happens, kind of talk more ball. But once again, fun podcast, episode 2 in the books. So make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment once again who you thought had the better mock draft, any video IDs you guys had, more player interviews you guys want to see. Subscribe to the channel, and so thank you, man, for coming on. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, appreciate you. Hey, Will Johnson. We got 211.
Hey, man, Will Johnson 11. We're gonna manifest it and happen. Let's go.
We're gonna manifest this forever. Okay.
Hey, see y'all.
Yep.